Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Harry and Meghan escaping the palace. This is, I believe, the third part in a three-film saga, because we loved to, why not make films out of tabloid monarchy struggles, you know? I've seen the second one, which was Becoming Royal. This is the third, I believe, in the series, and this is Escaping the Palace. The first one is Royally Falling in Love. I don't know what it was. A royal romance, which I imagine is about how they first met and how they got to know each other. I don't know that story yet because I'm not watching these in order. I'm just watching them as they're picked randomly for me. So what we get here is the end of a saga, maybe. Made in 2021. This takes us almost all the way up to 2021. So there's anything that's happened since then. Well, happily ever after. I don't know. It is an hour and 28 minutes long, and yeah, it's a drama. It's not a documentary. It's not a commentary on all of this. It is actors playing all these roles of real people in real situations that have happened. How they happened exactly may not be completely accurate in this film. The way people think, the way people spoke, the way people acted, the way people even existed. Like, there's a character in here by Keegan Connor. Oh, wow, I can't ever say her last name because her name's so long. Keegan Connor Tracy. We've seen her in a bunch of other stuff. I've seen her all for many years in a bunch of things. Her name's Victoria in this. I have a feeling she's not real. She might not have been real. She's kind of like a handler for Prince William's part of the family. Well, Prince Harry as a handler. It's kind of like a PR person, their assistant that's, sort of gives them the good news and the bad news and tells them, hey, this is, you got to go to this event or you got to act this way. Hey, you need to react to this. You need to, everybody needs to be proper. Everybody needs to not make the crown look bad. Hello, Prince Andrew. Yeah, that scene pops into play at a convenient and inconvenient time. Right around the time when Harry and Meghan Markle, by the way, who is his American bride and mother of his child, at the beginning of this, one child, soon to be two children, as of 2021. She is, she's an American actress. She's in Suits, I believe, and she is a person of color. I believe she's half black. We only see her mother in this. I don't know the whole story behind everything of her history. I usually don't go in for the tabloid celebrity journalism thing. I'm not really into that, especially when people are just ultra wealthy beyond belief. Not that Meghan was. She kind of like Diana with Prince Charles. She was a common girl who met a prince and they fell in love and happily ever after, right? Yeah. Not for Diana and Charles. But will escaping the palace be what the thing that keeps them together, that keeps them going? Because there's a lot of stuff that basically they speak about the monarchy, about the firm, as they call it internally, I guess. The royals, the royal lifestyle has put a lot of people through the meat grinder in over the centuries, let's just say. So what we get here is we start at the very beginning with Meghan having just had little Archie, and already the press in England, by the way, America does not corner the market on racism and just absolute bigotry and being pieces of garbage. But the press in England, they're no different. And say they put a bunch of racist, low-level garbage out in the newspapers, social media and everything else. It's in order to get a reaction very often. And yeah. So Meghan's being very demoralized by having to deal with this kind of thing. Harry's upset. He's also, when you're in this kind of family, no matter who you are, whether you're Harry or William or their wives, Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle. oh, by the way, yeah, and also Prince Charles and his wife. I can't remember her name. It'll come to me. all sorts of controversy over the years. There's the royal family has never been short on controversy because they work so hard to keep everything so uptight and so under control. There's always going to be somebody who is going to let it slip. The slightest thing, if they're not absolutely perfect, guess what happens? Everything goes out the window way too easily. They can make even the smallest thing become a huge controversy. And so when Harry and Meghan seem to be at odds with William and his bride, well, basically it's the brothers. The girls aren't really at each other's throats. They're just sort of standing by their man in many cases. They show allegiance to each other when they can, but sometimes it's, at least for Kate Middleton, it's not really something that she's always given the opportunity to do. So Meghan, while she's trying to do her activism, she's supporting women and girls in Africa and doing all sorts of other just things to help build up unseen or just communities in need. It's just what she suddenly has. She's not just an actress or just American. She has power. She has influence. People are looking at her. And so she can just sort of sit there and look perfect and pretty and do whatever they tell her to do, but she doesn't just do that. And it's a little upsetting. I mean, the fact that she's, one, a woman of color, and also an American, just isn't something that everybody was into in the first place. Let's say the Queen wasn't... She's cordial when she needs to be, but she's also sometimes not always been on their side from what I've seen in the last film. The Queen is the Queen. She does have a pretty great sequence when she sits down the men in this family, Prince Charles and his two sons, and basically says, gives them the riot act. And again, we don't know what actually was said in a meeting like that. Everything's assumed, some things are leaked, and whether it's true or not, we never know. Maybe some things can be proved, but I'm not the person who cares enough to prove them or disprove them because I just watched the thing on Disney Plus because it told me to randomly. So take this with a grain of salt. These people are real, most of them, and these situations were real. Meghan and Harry left England, left the royal family, and that means that's something that nobody's ever chosen to do before, because not only do you lose your power and influence, you lose the money, the security, like as in people protecting you. And you lose a lot of that. And so the controversy has always been, well, what if they leave and then they set up their own monarchy somewhere else in California or Canada or something? Like, everything is always about how they're seen, how they're, what show they can put on for the public in order to seem proper and regal and perfect, which they are not, and they never have been. In fact, the British family, over the centuries, the monarchy has been pretty awful, especially the countries that they've invaded over the years and own, I guess. The imperialist thing has been an Anglo thing for quite a long time. So what we get here is just based on a true story kind of thing, but with hopefully the structure of truth intact, with the small fine details. You gotta just sort of assume that they are telling you what is something that might be somewhat close to what actually was said, thought, experienced. One of the biggest examples of this is the fact that at the very beginning of the film, we come upon a car crash. It's in France. You know what that means if you're my age. I know where I was when it's happened. Princess Diana and her boyfriend were in a car accident, chased by press in Paris, and they died. And there's been all sorts of controversy and conspiracy theories and everything else that went along with that over the years, because the Queen and Diana did not get I'm not going to go into that at all, but what we see is this car crash. I'm like, what does this have to do anything? I realized, well, this is Harry and Meghan, not Princess Diana, but we see a man scrambling towards his car crash. And I realized pretty quickly this is meant to be Harry, but Harry was not a grown man at the time this happened. He was still a child. And I realized that this is all a dream. And he stumbles towards the car and he sees Meghan inside on the verge of death. And he wakes from his dream. And he doesn't explain to her what he's seen yet. But and again, this is a dream. This is a narrative tool in order to make us realize the stress that Harry is feeling in his position within the monarchy. He may not have ever had a dream like that. We know this. But it's a narrative tool to move the story along to create an emotional response. Yes, we are very much on Team Harry and Meghan in this. And there's some of the people in this are not really depicted very well. But yes, it's in the end, though, I think some people get off a little bit easy, too. Again, I don't know hardly anything about these families or their controversy. I know the brothers didn't get along for a while, and there's always been controversy with the women when they get married. And, of course, it goes all the way back to Diana and Prince Charles, the greatest televised wedding of all time. If you were never alive during that time, I was. If you're not alive during that time, just go on YouTube and search Charles and Diana, Prince Charles and Princess Diana wedding. It is the most extravagant wedding anybody has ever heard of in the modern times, and it was televised. So it was one of a kind. It was probably the biggest thing on television at that time, other than the series finale of MASH and possibly the wedding of Luke and Laura on General Hospital, which I believe was inspired by the Charles and Diana wedding. So yeah, Who Shot JR on Dallas. Those kind of things were tentpole moments in history on television. and so the world has always been fascinated by what was going to happen next with these brothers. And I've not really cared. I don't obsess over celebrity. The great, wealthy, and powerful celebrity of the world does not interest me. I like a number of celebrities, but I don't care about how great their wealth is. And I don't feel sorry for them very often when they have normal people problems that usually money can solve a whole lot quicker. But you know what? They go through these. You can't buy your way out of racism. You can't buy your way out of being treated like garbage simply because of the color of your skin or where you're from. And that is something that translates well over into this story because Meghan had to go through all that. She's a controversial figure from the start, and so this creates a breaking point between factions within the family, within the brothers, and everybody trying to keep everybody under control and proper and pure, and I don't know. But when Harry and Meghan realize this isn't working for us, and they want to go, well, then it's all spin doctors. Everybody's got to do they're spinning a story. They've got to fight one way or another, and their managers, in a sense, their assistants, are doing what they can to make everybody, or at least their person that they represent, look the best in every situation. Prince Andrew, of course, helped divert a number of things away from them for a very short time, and it became an opportunity for Harry and Meghan to either have the story moved away from them or for their story to overshadow the whole Prince Andrew kerfuffle, that mess that was there. Yeah, you can Google that too, but you may not want to. Anyway, so yeah, we get this story, and it takes us all the way into 2021, just a few months before this thing was even released. I guess, again, they were just probably working from internet searches and tabloid stories and Oprah interviews. There was an Oprah interview which is sort of recreated here at the very end. There's a lot of flashbacks with Princess Diana, some things that I didn't realize she had dealt with herself. the pressure of being within the palace and being who she was amongst the royals almost led her to do some major harm to herself. Something that it looked like Meghan was in a situation to do as well. Both at a time when they were pregnant. Is that a true story? Are both of those things real? I have no idea. There's books, I'm sure. There are interviews, I'm sure, that will help back up these or totally just tell it it's all total BS, but I have no idea. If you are a big fan of the royals and this whole drama, which is, again, this is not a documentary. Don't take it as 100% truth. Be discerning, but understand it kind of gives you a profile of who they are generally and what they want and how it all turned out. So technically Harry and Meghan, I haven't checked recently, are residents of California. I don't imagine ICE will be knocking on their doors to kick them out, but, well, Harry anyway, because Meghan's from here. But, so, yeah, what we have here, I want to make sure we get some of the names of the people in here. Sydney Morton is Meghan. Jordan Dean is Harry. I swear, they do look, the brothers, the actors who play the brothers look very much like them, and the women too. Laura Mitchell is Kate Middleton, and where are you, buddy? There you are. Jordan Wallen plays Prince William. I've seen Jordan Wallen in something else. I don't know what it is. Steve Coulter, I've seen him in a million things, is Prince Charles. And there's a few familiar faces throughout here. Princess Diana is played by Bonnie Soper. So this is mostly, it looks like a British production because everybody's English, except for Meghan and her mom. And so, yeah, this if you're into the soapy, tabloid type of stories, you'll probably get into this, and you'll probably want to watch it from the beginning. The one I haven't watched yet, the Becoming Royal, I think. You'll want to start with that one. Or, no, something with love. I don't know. A royal romance. You'll want to start with that one. Because, again, I believe all three of these have the same actors in them. Like they're made by the same production crew. And then there's a documentary also called Royal Rebels, which, yes, should be true. But we'll see when I eventually get to that one. Let's pick tomorrow's episode and see if I do. 157. I do not. 157 is far from that. Okay. This is a docu-series, but very different from what some of the docu-series we've seen recently. And it's similar in title to a series that I know. We'll see. We'll just talk about it tomorrow when we watch The Food That Built America. I'm going to watch at least one episode of that and see how it goes. But, hey, let's learn about the food that built America on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.